What's up guys, welcome back to another video. Thank you for watching. My name is Robert from Studio RSR, and today we're going to be talking about crank hubs. So we've been getting a lot of questions from people inquiring about our same-day crank hub service. So we figured we'd put together all the common questions that we get asked, including things about the 3 different crank hubs that we like to upgrade with, the crank hub itself and what it does, and then once James here is at a good stopping point, explain about how we're able to do things in one day. So yeah, stay tuned. Alright guys, so in front of me I've got 4 different crank hubs, 3 of which are the 3 that we recommend to use the most, that we include with our one-day crank hub special. Before we go over each of the pros and cons and the different types of the crank hubs, I wanted to explain, since we get asked a lot, what the crank hub is and what it does, where it goes. So fortunately / unfortunately, we've got a car that's apart right now, and we can show you the crank hub on this engine. So yeah, this customer is a completely stock car, not even a tune, nothing. Completely bone stock. His crank hub spun, and unfortunately doing diagnosis, the car didn't pass the leak down test, had bent valves, so the head is off to get repaired. Because he didn't do the crank hub, he's looking at a bill of around $5K to get the head refinished with labor and everything and get his car back on the road. But anyway, let's look at the crank hub. So as you can see, the crank hub is still in this car. We're going to upgrade it once the head gets back. But anyway, this is the factory crank hub. You can see here you've got your oil pump sprocket and you've got your timing chain sprocket. So technically from factory BMW, who knows why they designed it this way, but you've got 3 different pieces that could spin. So all of these torqued down with the bolt need to be spinning correctly, all in relation to each other. If any of these come off or spin slightly, that could lead to a lot of damage. So we've seen cases on stock cars, even modified cars, or especially modified cars, that you get a slight spin, meaning like maybe the tooth spun a little bit or this one spun a little bit, and in that case most of the time what we see is just small misfires or cam deviation codes or timing codes of the sort. So in the case that you get a really big spin, that could lead to bent valves like on this car. And in the worst case that we've seen before, we've probably had 8 customers that have had this issue where they've blown holes through the block. The worst one we've seen, which we'll include a little clip here, that customer actually blew 3 holes, 1 in the exhaust side, 1 on the intake side, and 1 through the oil pan, which was unfortunate because the rod and everything, all the debris actually went through the oil pan into the power steering pump. But yeah, hopefully that explains and gives you guys a visual of what the crank hub does and where it is and what it's doing. Let's go back and check out the 3 different upgraded versions that we like to offer. So before we go over the different pros and cons of the versions that we like to offer, we just want to explain that when the crank hub craze, or whatever you want to call it, first happened probably 4 to 5 years ago now, we didn't jump on and start offering it right away. We waited an entire year before we advertised that we did it as a service. The reason being, we wanted to see, because it's so detrimental to the engine if it's done incorrectly, we wanted to see which aftermarket upgraded crank hub would not only work but also last throughout time with different levels of power. In that year that we waited before we started offering it, we did have a car that we were working on, and on that car had pure stage 2s, fully upgraded E85. We were able to come up with different methods, whether we're drilling, taking off the oil pan. So obviously in that year when we first started learning how to do the crank hub ourselves, we weren't able to do them in one day right off the bat. Probably the first 5 to 6 cars we were taking about a week, then a couple days, and just perfecting the methods that we use, and then we came up with different tools and devices to help us save time. So now that we're able to offer it as a one-day service, we want to pass that time savings as a cost savings down to you guys. All right guys, so here we are. We've got the 3 different versions that we offer and recommend the most. There is a 4th version, which is a 4-pin 1-piece crank hub. I'll explain the difference with that one in a little bit. Unfortunately, we don't have one. These ones are actually here because they didn't pass our quality control checks, QC. So I will explain to you why they're a little bit damaged, but hopefully you guys can see what a good one would look like. So I'll start with the Vargas spline lock version. This one again didn't pass QC, and obviously this is a V1 version. There is a V2, which is what we've used probably close to 500 times on 500 cars. The V1 is no longer available. I'm sure you guys have done your research. And the reason it's not available any longer is because the V1 had splines that were curved or at an angle. So this piece, this front edge, so if you put the sprocket back on, this exposed part of this edge actually goes into the crankshaft and creates its own grooves. So you can see on this V1 version, which we no longer use, this actually led to failures because one, the grooves are really shallow, and two, they're at an angle. So imagine this going into the crankshaft. It's not creating a good groove for it to hold. The V2 version, there you've got much bigger grooves. We'll put a clip of it in as we're explaining this. You've got much bigger grooves, and the grooves are in a straight line. So when you push the crank hub in, it's creating a nice set groove for it to stay in place. It's kind of like a wheel stud. Second, we've got the carbon 2-pin. This piece didn't pass QC because you can see it's missing a pin here, and that's the reason we didn't use it. But yeah, so this is a 2-pin carbon. So the cool thing about the carbon 2-pin is that you've got your oil pump sprocket, and you can see here there's a key here. So this stops the different sprockets from spinning different in relation to the hub itself. So you got the oil pump sprocket with the 2 pins on it, and then you've got your timing chain. Third, we've got the 4-pin 2-piece crank hub. This is a very cool piece because, as you can see, the oil pump sprocket has 4 different keyways to stop it from spinning, and you've got the 4 pins that get drilled into the crankshaft itself. The coolest thing about this is that since it's a 2-piece, 1-piece for the oil pump, and the hub itself has an integrated timing chain sprocket in it, so there's no way this is going to spin different from the actual crank hub itself. So there are different pros and cons to each different version of the crank hub. We've probably done close to 500 spine lock V2s. I recommend this one a lot because there's no drilling required with this hub. You've got the splines that hold it into the crankshaft, securing it in place. All right guys, so with the 3 different upgraded crank hubs that we offer, again, we have that 4th 1-piece that we unfortunately don't have right now. We are able to do them all the same day. So with the 4-pin 1-piece, the oil pan does need to come off, but it's still able to be done in one day. So let's go talk to James about the different things that we do and different processes and tools that we use that allow us to finish it in one day. James, what's your favorite crank hub to install?
Honestly, I think the 2-piece 4-pin is probably my favorite.
Why?
I think as far as ease goes, I think the spline lock is technically easier. But honestly, it's gonna sound dumb. The part when this is in the crankshaft and I slide this in like this and it goes, I think that's my favorite part.
Very satisfying?
I think that's my favorite part of the whole thing is that.
I could see that, yeah, for sure. How long did it take you to do your first crank hub? Using the methods that we came up with.
I think, are you talking like my first crank hub ever, or kind of since we've refined everything? Well,
okay, first, what is your record to do a crank hub?
My record right now is just, I think, over 3 hours.
But you did 2 the other day.
Well, what time? I started at 11 the other day, and I did 2 before 4:30. So
yeah.
So that would be, yeah, I guess it would probably be less than that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So anywhere between like 2.5, 3.5 hours, somewhere in there is I think the record.
Okay.
For me personally. But
and when you first started, how long did it take? Your first one ever?
My first one ever took me like a day and a half.
Was it?
Yeah. Pretty sure it was a day and a half.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
For sure. Why are you able to do it so fast now?
I think with everything, it's just like muscle memory. The more you do it, the more you kind of refine your process. And there's a lot of things where like I would kind of realize like I'd be switching sockets on certain things when I didn't need to. There were other things I could be doing more of with the same size sockets and whatnot. So you kind of refine the process, and eventually like it just becomes like,
yeah, instead of walking back to your toolbox.
Yeah, it's like I kind of already know. In my head, I know what I need before I even walk up to the car.
Yeah, exactly.
So,
and then when you go to your toolbox, you've got all the tools that you know you're going to need.
Yep, exactly where I need them.
Everything's
all organized.
Clear.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So yeah, we've got this area specifically cleared out for crank hubs, and as you can see, everything's very organized. James has got it in the order it takes out, and then it just goes back in the order that it needs to go back in. Literally, no time is wasted.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah. So when we do it in one day, people think that we're rushing to do it in one day, but there are 0 shortcuts. Everything is to the T.
Yeah.
And
well, and I think
we're not even doing it as fast as we could do it. So you're doing it in one day is actually James taking his time.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, you know, we joke around and we're like, James, we're going to give you 2 today because we know he could do it, and he has done it. So, but obviously we're not going to do that because we don't want to be rushing. So we want James to take his time, clear head, and make sure everything's 110% done. And that's obviously why, you know, out of close to 700 cars that we've done over the last 4 to 5 years, obviously James isn't the only one who did all those cars.
Yeah.
But the methods and the facilities and the way we think and do things is still the same.
Yeah.
So, and that's why we've had 0 failures over those close to 700 cars. All right, guys, so wrapping up this video, we're gonna let James finish this M2 comp. One thing I did wanna add right at the end here is that out of the 700 odd cars that we've done over the last few years, again, we've never had an M2 competition come in with a spun crank hub. So every M2 competition that we've done is always preventative. I know that there's a lot of people talking about, you know, LCIs or 2018 F82s, F80s not needing the crank hub, but we have seen M4s and M3s that are LCI 18 to 20 have spun crank hubs. But oddly enough, on the M2 comp, we've never seen a spun M2 comp. So comment down below what you guys think about that. We don't have any scientific way to prove one way or the other. We just recommend that if you have an S55, it is an issue, so you might as well have the peace of mind to do it. And yeah, if you guys have any comments or questions, happy to answer them. Put them in the comments below or hit us up at Studio RSR. And we'll also put a link in the description that'll send you directly to our Crank Hub page where you can contact us directly. See you guys in the next one.